Jason floated in the black emptiness of space, his suit's thrusters making small, careful adjustments as he approached the alien vessel. It was massive, far larger than anything humans had ever built, with jagged angles and shimmering surfaces that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. His mission was supposed to be simple: inspect the ship, report damage, maybe fix minor systems. But as he drew closer, an uneasy feeling grew in his chest. The ship did not hum like human machines. It breathed, it waited. He activated the docking clamps and entered the vessel's airlock. The moment he stepped inside, the sterile hum of the human ship was gone. Instead, the hallways glowed in shifting colors, deep violet, silver, and streaks of green that seemed alive. The air smelled faintly metallic, but also carried something he couldn't name, something that prickled his senses. Every instinct screamed at him. This was not a normal mission. Then he saw her. She stepped from the shadows, tall, regal, radiating authority. Her eyes were an impossible shade, like molten gold in liquid fire, and they fixed on him with a gaze so intense that Jason felt like he had been stripped bare. She moved with the grace of a predator and the certainty of a queen. Even in the vast emptiness of space, her presence made him feel small, fragile, and exposed. "I am Princess," she said. Her voice was calm, yet it carried the weight of 1,000 commands echoing in the metal halls. "You are now in my domain, human. Your choices are no longer your own." Jason's mind raced. He had trained for emergencies, alien encounters, and hostile forces, but nothing had prepared him for this. She wasn't attacking him, not yet, but the power in her words and her being made it clear that resistance would be futile. His heart pounded, but beneath the fear, a spark of curiosity ignited. Who was she? Why had she brought him here? You don't have to threaten me," Jason said, trying to keep his voice steady, though it trembled slightly. "I just came to inspect your ship. I'm here on a mission, peaceful. I don't." Tilted her head as if amused by his protest. "Peaceful?" she echoed. "Humans speak of peace, yet your species has conquered, survived, and destroyed. It is your unpredictability I require. It is why you are here." Jason took a cautious step back. I don't understand. Require for what?" Her gaze softened for a fraction of a second, but it was fleeting. "Our people are dying. You humans, you have a resilience that others lack. You will serve as the instrument of our survival." The words hit him like a shockwave. Survival, her species was dying, and somehow he, just one human, was the key to their future. The idea seemed impossible. Yet when he looked at her, he sensed that she was not exaggerating. Her calm certainty was terrifying in its clarity. Jason's mind spun, searching for an angle, a way to assert control, a way to escape. But the truth sank in. He was in uncharted territory, beyond diplomacy or reason. In this place, every instinct, every skill he had relied on, seemed suddenly small. The only option left was to engage, to understand, to survive, and maybe in the process prove that humanity was capable of more than even this alien princess could imagine. Stepped closer. The light shifted, highlighting the fine details of her armor, the intricate patterns that seemed both ceremonial and functional. "You will learn soon enough," she said. "Your trial begins the moment you accept your place in my world. I will test your courage, your spirit, your mind. Humans are known for their unpredictability. Show me yours." Jason swallowed hard. Fear still clung to him like a second skin, but somewhere deep inside, a spark of determination flickered. He had faced impossible odds before, in storms, in space, in life-and-death situations. Maybe this was different. Maybe this was impossible, but he would face it anyway. As extended a hand, glowing slightly with an energy he couldn't comprehend, Jason took a deep breath and stepped forward. The air crackled. Time seemed to stretch. In that moment, the human in him met the alien in her, and something unspoken passed between them. A challenge, a promise, a beginning. Jason followed Princess down a corridor that seemed alive. The walls shifted colors like liquid, responding to her presence. Every step he took echoed unnaturally, as if the ship itself were watching, judging. Fear still tightened his chest, but curiosity forced him forward. He had to know what this trial was, what she truly wanted from him. Finally, they entered a vast chamber. The ceiling was impossibly high, dotted with floating lights that pulsed gently, casting long, dancing shadows. In the center of the room floated a series of glowing shapes, geometries that human understanding. Circles, triangles, and intricate patterns hovered midair, turning slowly as if alive. The air shimmered with energy that Jason could almost feel pressing against his skin. "This is your trial," said her voice echoing in the chamber. "You will face visions, human, visions of loss, of challenge, of impossible choices. Your mind will be tested, your courage examined. Only by enduring will you prove your worth." Jason's eyes widened. He had trained for physical challenges, for piloting, for surviving hostile environments, but mental trials of this sort were beyond anything he had imagined. "Visions?" he asked cautiously. "Like dreams." "Not dreams," corrected. "They are experiences. You will feel, think, and act as if they are real. Many humans fail, many break." Jason swallowed. He had always considered humans resilient, clever, unpredictable, but the weight of her words made him doubt himself. Could one human endure something designed to test the limits of comprehension? Could he survive when the stakes were not only his own life, but the fate of an entire species? Extended her hand, and the first glowing shape drifted toward him. The moment his fingers brushed it, a wave of energy surged through his mind. The chamber dissolved. He was no longer in the alien ship. He stood on a battlefield under a dark sky, wind whipping his face, screams echoing from all directions. Alien creatures surrounded him, their faces twisted in rage. Innocent beings ran past him, falling under impossible odds. Jason felt panic clawing at him, but he forced himself to focus. He remembered the survival skills he had learned, the strategies he had trained for in simulations, in combat exercises. He acted, directing those around him, guiding them to safety, making choices he had never had to make before. Each decision felt like it could cost lives. The pressure was unbearable, yet he pushed through, step by step, thought by thought. When he lifted his head, the battlefield dissolved into another vision. He was in a cold, empty void, watching civilizations crumble, stars dying, planets collapsing. He felt despair settle like a stone in his chest. But then faintly he saw sparks of life, small human-like figures rising from the chaos, rebuilding, creating, surviving. Something stirred inside him. He understood this trial was not meant to break him. It was meant to measure his spirit. Hours, or perhaps minutes, passed before he was pulled back into the chamber. The glowing shapes dissolved, leaving only standing before him, her golden eyes studying him with something almost like awe. "You endured," she said simply. "Most humans cannot. They falter under the weight of what I showed you. But you rose." Jason staggered, still catching his breath. His heart hammered, his body ached, and his mind reeled from the intensity of the experience. I didn't know it was real," he admitted, voice shaky. "It felt real." "Because it was," replied, her voice softer now. "Every vision, every challenge was real in its consequences. Life, death, despair, hope, you faced them all, and you did not break. You proved your resilience, your courage, your spirit. That is why you are human. That is why you are valuable." Jason felt a strange warmth in his chest. Fear was still there, but now it was accompanied by something stronger, pride, relief, and an understanding he hadn't felt before. Humans were flawed, yes, but that flaw carried a strength no machine, no perfect logic, no alien wisdom could match. They endured, they adapted, they survived. Studied him silently for a moment, then nodded. "Your trial is only the beginning," she said. "But already I see the potential of your species. Already you shine brighter than most could imagine." Jason looked at her, finally seeing not just an alien princess, but a being who carried the weight of an entire civilization on her shoulders. And in that moment he understood that whatever came next, he would face it, not as a pawn, but as a human, unpredictable, unbreakable, and alive. Days passed aboard the alien ship, though Jason had long since lost track of time. The corridors no longer felt entirely alien. The shifting walls and strange lights had become familiar, like a heartbeat he could sense if he focused. Yet the presence of Princess never lost its intensity. She moved with the precision of someone who carried centuries of responsibility. Yet when she spoke to him, her words carried curiosity and occasionally a rare softness. "You have endured the trial," she said one evening, her golden eyes glowing under the soft violet light of the chamber. "Few humans would have done what you did. Most would have broken, turned away, or lost hope. Yet you stood firm." Jason rubbed his temples. He still felt the mental weight of the visions, the battles, the despair he had faced. "I just kept going," he said slowly. I didn't think about failing, I just acted, survived. I guess that's what humans do. Studied him, tilting her head in fascination. You speak of survival as if it is instinct, she observed. And yet what you call instinct is something far more rare. You are unpredictable, capable of hope where others surrender. That is valuable. For the first time, Jason felt a spark of pride. Not arrogance, but a recognition that humans were more than fragile flesh, more than flawed creatures. He was beginning to understand why had brought him here, not as a soldier, not as a tool, but as a symbol of resilience, a living testament to what humans could achieve. Over the following days, guided him through the ship, showing him systems and technologies he had never imagined. He marveled at the elegance of the design, the way it seemed alive, responsive, intelligent. And yet, as much as the technology fascinated him, it was the moments with that struck him most. In the observation chamber, he watched a distant nebula swirl with colors he could not name. Stood beside him, her hand hovering close but not touching. "You see that?" she asked. "Entire systems rise and fall. Life endures even in the harshest places. You have that same spark inside you." Jason nodded, feeling an unexpected swell of emotion. He had always thought humans were fragile, but now he saw something different: strength, adaptability, and a stubborn will that refused to bend completely, no matter the odds. "Maybe that's why we survive," he said quietly. Smiled faintly, a gesture almost imperceptible but warm. "Perhaps," she replied. "You remind me that life, even when on the edge, can endure. You remind me why my people fight." One night, Jason found himself in the ship's central chamber, alone with her. The soft hum of the ship vibrated beneath their feet. "I've seen humans accomplish impossible things," said her voice unusually gentle. "But you embody it. Courage, hope, ingenuity, you inspire. Do you know what that means?" Jason shook his head. "Not really, I just try to do what I can." "Try," she echoed softly, almost laughing. "No, human, you act. And in that you teach others how to endure, how to rise when faced with despair. That is rare in the universe." Her words settled in him, warming a part of his soul he hadn't realized had been cold. He understood now that this bond between them was not just personal, it was symbolic. Humanity, in all its imperfection, had something to offer the stars. Something the alien princess, commanding and supreme, recognized with awe. As the ship glided silently through the cosmos, Jason felt a strange sense of connection, not just to, but to the universe itself. He was no longer a lone human drifting in an alien vessel. He was part of something larger, a spark of life amid the vastness of space. And though danger still loomed, though trials and tests were yet to come, he felt ready. For the first time, he realized that the bond forming between him and was more than trust. It was mutual recognition. Two very different beings, each carrying the weight of survival, learning from one another, teaching one another. And in that silent, glowing chamber amid stars and alien lights, Jason understood something profound. Humanity's true strength was not just in survival. It was in connection, in courage, and in the hope it could give to others. Glanced at him, her eyes reflecting the swirling nebula beyond. "Soon," she said quietly, "you will face the next challenge, but for now rest, you have earned it." Jason allowed himself a brief moment of relief, leaning against the cool wall. Even in the alien world, even under her watchful gaze, he felt something rare: belonging. And in the heart of the unknown, that spark of human resilience began to burn brighter than ever. Jason had begun to feel a strange rhythm aboard the alien ship. Days blurred together as he learned its systems, navigated its corridors, and grew more comfortable around Princess. Yet beneath that sense of progress, a silent tension lingered, like the calm before a storm. He had sensed it before but could not name it. Now that tension was about to explode. The alarms sounded without warning, a deep, resonant hum that shook the ship's core. Red lights flashed along the walls, painting everything in harsh, urgent streaks. Jason's heart leapt into his throat. What's happening?" he shouted, rushing to his side. "They are here," she said, her voice sharp and commanding. Her golden eyes flashed with both fury and calculation. "An enemy fleet approaching faster than our defenses can normally detect. They have hunted my people for generations, seeking to destroy us completely. And now, they have found us." Jason's mind raced. Enemy fleets. Advanced technology, alien warriors trained for war. He had faced simulated battles before, but this was real. And the stakes were higher than anything he had imagined. Not just his life, but an entire species hung in the balance. Moved with fluid precision, issuing orders that Jason could barely comprehend. Energy shields rose along the hull, weapons systems activated, and defensive drones surged into position. Yet she paused, turning to him. "I need you, human," she said. "You have faced trials of mind and spirit. Now I need your ingenuity to protect my people." Jason nodded, swallowing the fear rising in his throat. He had survived impossible visions and mental trials. He had bonded with, understood the essence of her people. Now he had to act, not just as a human in an alien world, but as a strategist, a guide, and a spark of unpredictability. He sprinted to the ship's command console, scanning data faster than he had ever imagined possible. Enemy formations moved like shadows, but there were patterns, gaps, weaknesses. Using instinct honed through years of training and survival, Jason issued instructions to reroute energy, reposition drones, and create feints that even seasoned officers had not considered. The battle began. Explosions rocked the ship as energy beams cut through the void, alien ships twisting and spiraling under fire. Jason's hands moved with precision, adrenaline sharpening his senses. He felt fear, yes, but it fueled him rather than paralyzed him. Every decision mattered, every second counted. He was human, yes, but he was more than fragile flesh. He was creativity, instinct, and courage embodied. Watched him work, her expression unreadable at first, then slowly softening. "Remarkable," she whispered, almost to herself. "No alien could think like this, only a human." Hours passed, though it felt like minutes. Ships exploded in brilliant flashes, shields flared, and alarms screamed. Yet under Jason's guidance, the tide began to turn. Enemy vessels faltered, caught off guard by his unexpected maneuvers. One by one, they retreated, leaving the alien princess's fleet battered but alive. When the last enemy ship vanished into the blackness of space, the silence was deafening. Smoke and sparks floated in the corridors, and exhausted crew members struggled to regain control. Jason leaned heavily against the console, chest heaving, mind still buzzing with adrenaline. Approached him, her golden eyes glowing softly in the dim light. "You saved us," she said, her voice carrying both awe and gratitude. "Humans, you are more than survival. You are brilliance, courage, unpredictability. You are extraordinary." Jason shook his head, trying to clear the haze of fear and exhaustion. "I just did what I could," he said quietly. "I think anyone would do the same if they were in my place." "No," said firmly. "Most would not. Most would panic, falter, or fail. You endured, you adapted. You led when even my finest could not have. That is why humans are remarkable. That is why you are remarkable." Jason felt a strange warmth flood through him. Not pride exactly, but a deep satisfaction, a recognition of humanity's potential. He had faced the impossible, stood against overwhelming odds, and survived. Not alone, but alongside an alien princess whose people now owed their lives to his courage. As the ship settled into quiet once more, Jason realized something profound. Fear, danger, and chaos were constant in the universe, but humans had a gift no alien could replicate: the ability to rise, to adapt, and to inspire hope even in the darkest moments. And in that realization, he felt stronger than ever, ready to face whatever challenge came next. After the battle, silence filled the alien ship. The corridors were still vibrating with residual energy, and the hum of machinery was the only sound besides the distant steps of the crew. Jason wandered through the observation deck, staring at the stars, trying to calm the storm inside him. He had survived trials, mental challenges, and now a real battle against impossible odds. But amidst all that, he realized there was something he still didn't understand: why he had been brought here in the first place. Princess joined him, moving without sound, her golden eyes reflecting the brilliance of a distant nebula. "You did not just survive," she said softly. "You changed the course of my people's history. You are more than I imagined a human could be." Jason looked at her, exhausted but alert. "I still don't understand fully," he admitted. "Why me? Why humans, my species, were just small, fragile creatures compared to yours? How can one human make such a difference?" stepped closer, her presence both commanding and comforting. "It is not your size or your strength," she said. "It is your spirit, your resilience, your mind. Humans adapt in ways we cannot. Humans endure when hope seems lost. That is why you were chosen. That is why you were brought here." Jason felt a chill run down his spine. He had always believed humans were clever and resourceful, but hearing it from someone so powerful, someone who had seen civilizations rise and fall, made him understand the weight of his existence. He wasn't just a human on a strange, alien ship. He was a symbol of possibility, a living testament that even the smallest species could leave a mark on the universe. "You speak as if humans are special," he said quietly. "We're just people. We make mistakes, we fail, we hurt each other sometimes. How can that matter on a galactic scale?" Shook her head, her expression serious. "It is because of your flaws that you shine. You fail, yet you try again. You fall, yet you rise. You fear, yet you act. You are unpredictable. You create hope where no one else can. That is power." Jason stared at her, feeling a mix of awe, disbelief, and something else he could not name. He realized that the connection forming between them was more than admiration or respect. It was understanding, a recognition of value across species. She trusted him not because he was perfect, but because he was human, and humans had a unique brilliance the universe had rarely seen. I never thought of it that way," he said, voice low. "I just survive, I just keep going, but you're saying that's important." "More than important," said, her eyes softening. "It is vital. Without your kind of spirit, my people would be gone. You are not here to conquer, not here to command. You are here to inspire, to be a beacon, to show that life, even fragile life, can endure and prevail." Jason felt a strange weight lift from his shoulders. For so long, he had doubted humanity's worth, thinking they were insignificant in a vast, indifferent universe. But here, in this alien vessel, facing impossible odds, he saw proof of what humans could achieve. Not through strength alone, not through technology alone, but through will, courage, and connection. Extended her hand, not as a command, but as an invitation. "Walk with me," she said. "There is more to see, more to understand. You will learn the true nature of my people and what your presence truly means." Jason took her hand, feeling the faint warmth of energy she radiated. Together, they moved to a chamber filled with holographic projections of worlds, histories, and civilizations. Jason could see the rise and fall of empires, the growth and destruction of species, and in each image, he felt the fragility of life and the strength required to preserve it. "This is why humans matter," said, gesturing to the holograms. "You survive, you adapt, you rise, and in doing so you remind the universe that life is never truly lost if there is courage, hope, and will to endure." Jason looked at the projections, then at her, and for the first time felt something beyond survival, purpose. He was human, yes, but he was more than flesh and bone. He was a spark, a symbol, a force that could inspire life and change the course of history. And in that moment, he understood what it meant to be chosen, not for power, but for hope. The ship glided silently through the cosmos, a glowing jewel in the vast darkness. Jason stood on the observation deck, watching distant stars drift by. He had survived trials of mind, spirit, and battle. He had seen firsthand the fragility and brilliance of people. And now he felt the weight of the truth had revealed. His presence was not merely helpful, it was essential. Yet with that knowledge came a heavier burden. Approached him, moving with her usual grace, yet her expression carried something different today, hesitation. "Jason," she said softly, "you have endured much. You have shown courage and brilliance beyond expectation, but the path ahead, it will demand more than skill or intellect. It will demand choice." Jason turned to her, confusion knitting his brow. "Choice, what do you mean?" She gestured to the holographic display, which now showed a map of her peoples, by centuries of conflict. "My species teeters on the brink of extinction. Our numbers are few. To ensure survival, we must bond with a species capable of resilience and adaptation, a species that carries hope into the future." Jason felt a chill creep into his chest. He had faced danger, challenges, and fear, but nothing had prepared him for this. "Bond, how?" he asked carefully. "I don't understand what you're asking." "It is not merely physical," said, her voice firm yet tinged with vulnerability. "It is legacy. You are not just human, Jason. You are a living symbol of what my people need. Your species carries the spark that can reignite hope in our line. Choosing to walk this path is choosing to ensure life itself continues." Jason looked away, struggling to process the enormity of her words. He had always thought of humans as fragile, limited, ordinary. And yet, his gaze and her words reminded him of the countless times humanity had endured, adapted, and created in the face of impossible odds. Could he truly accept such responsibility? Could one human carry the hope of an entire species? I never imagined it like this," he admitted, his voice low. "I thought my role was just to survive, maybe help a little, but this is everything." Placed a hand on his shoulder, her touch warm despite the faint hum of energy she radiated. "You are not alone," she said. "You never will be. You have already shown your strength, your courage, your capacity to inspire. This choice, it is yours, but know that whatever path you take, it is guided by the human spirit that has proven its worth time and again." Jason swallowed hard. The stars outside shimmered, distant yet somehow close, as if waiting for his answer. He thought of Earth, of humanity, of the countless struggles that had shaped him and his species. He thought of the visions he had endured, the battle he had fought, and the connection he had formed with. And slowly, a certainty grew within him. "If my presence can help, if I can give hope, then I will do it," he said firmly, meeting her golden gaze. "Not because I'm special, but because humans endure. We rise when we must, and I'll rise with you." His eyes softened, her stern expression giving way to something rare, relief and pride. "You understand, then," she whispered. "You accept not just the responsibility, but the meaning of your existence in this moment. You embrace what it is to be human." Jason felt a strange weight lift from his shoulders, replaced by purpose. He had faced the impossible and chosen to rise, to endure, to connect. And in doing so, he realized something profound. Humans were never truly powerless. Even in the vast emptiness of space, even against the odds of an entire galaxy, they could inspire, endure, and create hope where none seemed possible. As he stood beside, looking out at the stars, Jason knew this was not the end of the journey. Greater challenges awaited, dangers yet unseen. But for the first time, he felt the quiet certainty of strength born from resilience. He was human. And humanity, he realized, was capable of shaping the future in ways even the universe could not foresee. His hand brushed his lightly, a silent affirmation. Together they would face what was coming. Together hope would endure. And together they would write a story neither species could have imagined alone. The alien ship drifted through the endless expanse of space, its hull glowing faintly against the darkness. Jason stood at the observation deck, watching the stars shimmer like distant beacons. The past weeks had tested him in ways he could never have imagined. Visions that tore at his mind, battles that threatened entire civilizations, and a weight of responsibility that would have crushed any ordinary human. Yet here he was, standing beside Princess, alive, unbroken, and more certain of his place in the universe than ever before. Approached him silently, her golden eyes reflecting distant galaxies. "You have embraced what I asked of you," she said, her voice calm but filled with emotion. "You chose to endure, to act, to bring hope where none seemed possible. That choice has changed everything." Jason turned to her, his own eyes wide with awe. "I only did what I had to, but seeing your people, seeing what's at stake, I realized something. Humans are flawed, yes, but our strength isn't just survival. It's our will, our courage, our ability to inspire others even when everything seems lost." Smiled faintly, a rare softness in her expression. "Yes, that is why humans endure. That is why you endure. And that endurance, it gives life where death seems certain. You are more than a human, Jason. You are a symbol, a spark that can reignite hope across galaxies." For a moment, silence enveloped them, broken only by the hum of the ship's engines. Jason felt the enormity of what they had accomplished together. The enemy fleet had been driven back, the princess's people were alive, and a fragile sense of peace had returned. Yet the true victory was not in the battle, it was in understanding. Humans could shape destiny not through dominance or power alone, but through spirit, creativity, and resilience. "Your people will survive," Jason said quietly, almost to himself. "Because they have hope now, and maybe that hope will grow beyond even what you imagine." Placed her hand lightly on his shoulder. "Yes, and it is your spirit that carries that hope. You have reminded my people that life is never truly lost if there are those willing to rise against the odds. You have reminded me, Jason, that even in the vastness of the universe, a single human can make a difference greater than any fleet or weapon could. Jason felt a swell of pride, but it was not the pride of achievement. It was the pride of purpose, the satisfaction of knowing that his presence had meaning beyond himself. Humanity, fragile yet unyielding, had found a place among the stars not through conquest, but through courage and connection. As the ship approached, Jason watched the surface glow with life and energy. Cities sparkled, forests swayed beneath alien winds, and rivers glistened in the sunlight. The planet was but alive, its people emerging from shadows into light, inspired by what had been done. And Jason understood something profound. Life endured not because it was strong, but because it was brave enough to fight for tomorrow. Turned to him, her expression solemn yet filled with warmth. Your journey does not end here, Jason. Greater challenges will come, new threats, new trials. But know this, wherever humans go, wherever they survive, they carry the power to inspire. You carry it now, and with it my people, and perhaps many others, will endure. Jason nodded, looking at the stars stretching infinitely above. He had entered this ship a stranger, a simple human on a routine mission. He now stood as something more, a beacon of hope, a living testament to the unpredictable brilliance of his species. He had faced fear, endured trials, fought battles, and made choices that echoed across worlds, and he had done it as a human. As led him to the planet's surface, Jason felt the weight of the future settle comfortably on his shoulders. He did not know what awaited them next, but he knew this. Life in all its forms had value. Humanity had value. And the universe, vast and indifferent, could still be shaped by courage, hope, and the unbreakable spirit of one human willing to rise. Standing on the glowing surface of the alien world, Jason looked up at the stars and smiled. The journey had been long, terrifying, and unimaginable, but he had endured. And in that endurance, he had left a legacy, proof that humans, however small, could shine brighter than the darkest voids of space. Hope would endure, humanity would endure, and Jason knew deep in his heart that the story had only just begun.